ready to go. On the Fan, New York Sports Radio. Mike's on, Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on, Francesa on the Fan on this Football Friday, the 10th day of the month of November already. A little step closer towards the holidays and Thanksgiving as we have reached Week 10 in the National Football League. It comes very quickly. We always say that when we open with the first week. Next thing you know, it'll be Week 10. Well, it is Week 10. And we are there, and there's a lot going on as we get to Week 10. There's a little bit of a battle inside the NFL office, which we'll get to. And also, interesting week for the locals, who will both be on the road. One will be in Florida, one will be in San Francisco. And we begin with the Giants because you've heard and seen the last 24 hours or so that the Giant players, a couple of the defenders, have gone on a little bit of a search trying to figure out who was the anonymous, there was the anonymous quote. You've even seen some people hint, and very unfairly to the young lady, that the quote was made up, which is totally unfair. I mean, listen, I'm not never been in love with anonymous quotes. I'd love to see players put their names on them, but that's totally unfair, especially in a chaotic situation like the Giants are. It was extremely logical that somebody would be thinking the things that were said, so I don't buy that made up part of it. Not something with that kind of detail. I don't buy that for a second. So I think that's very unfair to her. But the Giants should cease, whether you're talking about Snacks, whether you're talking about Collins, whether you're talking about Casillas, cease worrying about, cease playing Criminal Minds and trying to find out who said it. You wouldn't have to look too hard. Just look at your secondary. You know it's coming out of there. It's coming out of guys like Jenkins and Cromartie and Apple, who have been very unhappy and been noticeably and visibly unhappy. They've been acting out. They haven't been playing well. They haven't been playing with any intensity. That's your problem. You want to know where your problem area is. It's right there. But here's the more important thing. You want to support your coach. You're playing a team that is 0-9. You're playing a team that is beat up, playing a kid at quarterback. They're 0-9. The quarterback's replacement is already there, dusting off his resume and getting ready to jump in at a moment's notice. I don't think you'll see him this week. But bet that knows he's a backup and knows he's not part of the future plan. They're playing a team that has been outscored 93-30 in its last three games and has not won a game all year. This is a perfect way to show the message. Stop with, we support our coach and we want our guys to be men and we want to find out who said this. Go out there and make a statement. Go out there and win a football game. Go out there, sack a quarterback who's been sacked 14 times in his last three games. Go out there and beat up a team that has been outscored, as I just said, 93-30 in its last three ball games and is 0-9 on the season, and bring a one-sided, 30-7 win back and then build off that. That's the best way that you can show your support for your coach and your coaching staff. Your talk is cheap. Your words are cheaper. Go out there and do something. Go out there and play a game, especially against the opponent that's an absolute setup this week. You couldn't have it any better. I mean, if you want to make a statement, if you want to be angry, if you want to show that you're going to, your pride was hurt and you want to show that there's a little unity here and you do support this coach, well, you know what? It's very easy to do. Go out there and, make the game 21-0 in the second quarter and coast home from there against a team that really doesn't have a whole lot to offer. If you're in a game where you're in the fourth quarter and it's 10-7 or it's, 14-12 and, your life and death to win the game against a team that's 0-9 and has, major rebuilding plans and is in the initial stage of that, then your message is worthless. Then everything that you are setting out to do is utterly worthless. And should it get to the point that you lose that game and allow that team to win this first game under those conditions and make a 5 or 5.5 hour this time of year flight back across the country, well, that will be one of the ugliest trips ever, and one where the coach staff will have a lot of time contemplating their future, which will be elsewhere. That's the bottom line as the Giants get ready to play this game this week. Shut up about all the talk. Shut up about your teammates. Go out there and win the game and win it decisively, and go out there and play football for once in this entire season against a team, like I said, that's a setup. I mean, this team has scored 30 points in 3 weeks. They've been outscored by 63 points in their last 3 games. They've allowed 14 sacks. They are beat up. They're missing something like 20 players since training camp. You can't have an easier mark. So if you can't go out and do that, what's the sense of the conversation? You sent volumes by not showing up or not performing against that level opponent. So that's what the Giants need to do. Don't worry about, playing Dick Tracy. Go out there and play football. Go out and play Dick Butkus instead of Dick Tracy this weekend. As for the Jets, it's a dangerous spot. I understand Evans isn't there. I understand Winston isn't there. I understand Dirk Cutter's probably halfway out the door because that organization likes to get rid of coaches in a hurry. And this year they had high hopes. And they had some talent. I mean, they do have some talent. It's still a tricky game for me. It's a tricky game because I can see Fitz, who hasn't played well when he's played recently, I can see him come up with a big game. I can see some of those players come up. I just think it's a dangerous game. Now, it's a game the Jets can and should win. But I just find it a dangerous spot, for the Jets to be thinking, or anyone to be thinking, that this is one the Jets will win nice and easily. I just be careful with that. Tampa's got more talent on that roster than the Jets do. Doesn't mean it's going to show up this week. It hasn't shown up, and they don't have their quarterback. And the Jets have played hard. They've gone out with a plan. Their defenses look better. I expect them to shut down Tampa's non-existent running game. I expect them to put some pressure on the quarterback. I think all the things you've seen, you're going to see again, and good. But go with that kind of idea that this game is going to be a little tougher than you think, because I think it will be. I don't think it'll be an easy game, especially with Fitz, the quarterback, because I think, he wants nothing more than to go out there and win this game this week. This is one he would love to get, and there is extreme pressure on the coaching staff in Tampa to get this turned around like right now. Even without Jameis Winston and with Evans suspended and with Winston on the shelf, it's still a team under extreme pressure right now. So that's how we set up the locals as we get ready for Week 10. The other big story, of course, is Jerry Jones really doubling down on his attack against Goodell's future and against his buddies in the NFL, specifically Arthur Blank. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but that is something that is reverberating throughout the league as Jerry Jones has not gone quietly into the night as the owners have tried to push forth this Goodell extension. Jerry is adamant that he is going to do what he can to stop it, so we'll see where that takes us in the next couple of days, but it is a very interesting battle inside the NFL office. No Ezekiel Elliott this week. We know now that the Court of Appeals will not meet on his situation until December 1st, which means there'll be 3 games played by then. So the Cowboys will be without him for the next 3 games. Those games are this Sunday in Atlanta, next Sunday night at home against Philly, and then Thanksgiving Day against the Chargers. Those are the 3 games. The Cowboys will play again on the 3rd. They will have a decision on the 1st. That is the plan right now. At least that's what we've been told. So that's where the Dallas situation is. And Dallas has played very well. Their defense has played better. They've been the better team. And they go into Atlanta, where Atlanta's already lost to some bad teams this year and has shown no signs of turning this around. So it'll be very interesting to see how much this changes what the Cowboys have done in recent weeks and whether Atlanta can find itself in what is a very interesting game this week. 4:00 game, Dallas in Atlanta. But a very, very interesting game from the standpoint of no Elliott for the Cowboys and kind of a now and never for this Atlanta team with a world of talent, especially on offense, which has lost its way and has never, we can now say, recovered from what went on in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl and the loss of Shanahan. So they've never recovered from that. And I thought they would, and I thought they'd be motivated, and instead it's been a disaster for them. And it's funny because when Green Bay showed up, they looked like world beaters. They looked like they did last year, and you thought, wow, this is what you're going to see all year. You have not seen hide nor hair of that for the last 6 weeks. So we'll see where that takes us. We'll do some college football. We'll have all the regular stuff, Schrager, Doc O'Brien, picks around the league, all that. We'll sprinkle in a little college football with Danielson, and we'll have the rising star of our fair city, a guy who has already taken the city by storm and is about to become as big a star as there is in the city, and that, of course, Christoph Porzingis, who will join us in the 2 o'clock hour. So we will talk to the high-scoring Nick Starr about where this team is and where it's headed and where he's headed. Knicks will be in action tomorrow against Sacramento. They have a bunch of home games coming up this week. They have Sacramento Saturday, Cleveland Monday. Cleveland lost to Houston again last night. Utah on Wednesday. So Knicks have already beaten Cleveland, so Cleveland maybe come in, look to pay him back. The only way they can pay him back is if LeBron gives them one of those big efforts, because this Cleveland team is just awful right now. LeBron had 33 last night, not enough to beat Houston on the road. They don't look like a very good team right now. There's some teams that just don't look very good right now. Cleveland is one, Oklahoma City another, as far as the NBA is concerned. But we got a lot to do today. We got the contest again each hour. This is your last dance for the contest as we get ready for the show at the Taylor Center next Wednesday night at 7:30. You'll hear it right here on the Fan. If you don't have tickets, this is your last chance to get tickets. The event's been sold out for a long time. These are the last we're going to give away. We're going to give away 2 each hour. We'll pick a upgraded winner at 5 o'clock in the 6 o'clock hour, right around 6, a little before. And then we will have our 5 contestants who will come on the stage and play for the chance to win a bunch of prizes, including $10,000. So we got 5 sets of tickets left to give away. 1 will be for a grand prize winner. For a VIP and a chance to be the grand prize winner. So we got all that going on today. A very busy football Friday, and we'll get it all rolling right after that.